Action figure review.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Collector Side. I am your host, The Collector, and right here I have with me, as you probably have hopefully seen in my unboxing video, I have McFarlane Toys Fortnite Black Knight action figure here to take a look at and show off to you guys. Thank you very much once again to McFarlane Toys for giving me the opportunity to take a look at this figure and review it for my audience. I really appreciate it. Very, very kind of you guys. I'm very excited to have this here to take a look at and get a little bit more into detail with what's going on in this particular figure. So thank you very much, McFarlane Toys, for the opportunity. Basically, this figure is, it's got 22 moving parts, which is a little bit of a departure from your typical McFarlane toy action figure. So what's nice to see is this is basically what the newly developed articulation body type is for McFarlane Toys going forward. Now, certain older figures that are already tooled, but maybe a re-release of a previous figure, they're not necessarily going to have the new body type. Anything that's freshly tooled from here on out is going to have the basic articulation that is built into this particular figure. So they've done a few things that are a little different from what you might typically see, which I find to be really interesting. But just for starters, the paint applications on the figure are really nice. The colors are very strong, nice details. I like the weathering on the armor, and I'll zoom in so you guys can get a little bit of a closer look at the weathering of the armor. See if you guys can see. So there's get some really nice paint applications here, giving a real weathered look, a nice, kind of gunmetal paint job to just really hammer in the dark armor, the whole Black Knight thing. And it's really nicely done. There aren't really any smudges that I can see. You've got just a really nice level of detail in the paint applications here. So we've got now with this particular figure, he has 3 different accessories. He comes with a shield that's on his back. He comes with his battle axe, and he comes with a grenade launcher. What I like is that each hand holds the appropriate weapon in the right way. This hand is big enough to grip the battle axe. This hand is posed in such a way that it has a little trigger finger, so you can get the finger right into the trigger right there, if you guys can see. So he's got his pointer finger is right there to pull the trigger. Now, one thing to note is that you kind of have to have the butt of the gun here on the inside. If you try to pull it out this way, his trigger finger pops out. So it's really meant to be positioned so that the butt of the gun is on the inside. What's nice also is that if you pop out the battle axe, you can use his other hand to basically grip and hold the front handle grip of the grenade launcher, which is pretty cool. I like that. Now, just be careful. It is a pretty wide grip, so it's not a tight hold, but aesthetically it works and it does what you need it to do. So just keep that in mind. It's not going to fit tightly just because the bar on the accessory is so large. I wish they had it a little smaller, but I can understand why they made it so thick. Less likely to break, so that's fine with me. Now, it comes with also this display base here, so you can do all kinds of dynamic poses with the figure, and then you put it on the display base, and you can put it on your shelf, add it to your collection. You can display him in a stationary pose if you wanted to, or you can use the base to basically just make a more dynamic pose and use the base as support to keep the figure standing up. So zoom in there so you can see that. See? So that's basically what you can do. You can use the base to make the figure more stable, or you can pop him off, and he does a pretty good job of standing on his own, just because he's got the hinge joint in the toes, and it adds for the stability. Now, I've posed this guy a lot. He's started to loosen up a little bit, so I would be just mindful of that. It seems like with a lot of posing, he's become a little on the loose side. That's, I'd say, just one minor complaint that I have is he's gotten rather loose rather quickly. I don't know how common that is. Sometimes that happens. It's just, sometimes it just happens. It's all based on the plastic. There's really not much you can do about it. But, for the most part, he holds up pretty nicely. So now the next step is I want to take a look at the articulation, because I want to show you guys there's some really interesting things going on here, and I like the decisions that McFarlane Toys has made in the articulation and the modification of their previous body. So basically, what you've got here is you have the head that rests on a separate neck piece. That neck piece also has a ball and socket joint inside the upper torso and into the shoulders to allow him to look down. He's got decent range of motion looking up. And then if you pop the head off, you can see here's the separate, there we go, see that? So you've got the neck, and the neck joint here has a little socket at the bottom that deep inside the torso of this body is the ball jointed peg that pops into the neck. So I like that feature because I like how it gives you an added range of motion to the character. Makes it more, you know, just makes him able to do more, to look around more, makes the joint system more flexible, and, you know, just gives you more of the desired effect of a dynamic pose. So I like that, and it pops right back in. Now on the shoulders here, one thing to note, so it's interesting, this particular figure, they added butterfly joints to the shoulders, which move kind of like, almost like, I guess, you know, kind of like, if you think of it, if you guys have ever been in a swimming pool, like if you had a pool at home and you go to the water jet on your swimming pool, and there's that little ball bearing that you can kind of move around and forces the water to go in different directions, you know, that's kind of what this looks like here. It's, you know, this butterfly joint is more of a flexible hinge kind of thing that directs the arm to move in different ways. So if you can kind of see here, you see how that moves around like that? So that is actually a really interesting detail that I happen to like a lot. I think it makes it, I don't know, it's a very, you know, aesthetically pleasing design, because it's very fluid. It's kind of seamless. They did a nice job folding it into the sculpt and detail that they have on the upper torso. So they did a really nice job folding that in. Now, what's interesting here is this shoulder joint is, it's got this long peg sticking out of it with a ball at the end, if you guys can see that. And then you've got your disc joint that fits into the shoulder. And then you've got upper bicep swivel. So you got your upper bicep swivel. You have your double jointed elbows, which actually, if you look, this is incredible range of motion. So it's really nicely done. Now the sculpting, you know, aesthetically, it's a little, it's not as nice as I would hope. I understand that they have to do this in order to be able to get this range of motion. And then also you have a really nice ball joint at the wrist. So that really adds to the articulation. So this is nice because it just kind of pops right back in. It's a pretty seamless thing. And it pops right back into place here, so you guys can see that. Snaps right back in, no problem. And it's pretty solid. Doesn't really do any damage. I didn't push it in all the way. You have to wait for that little snap. There we go. So there we go. So it, you know, pops right back into place. Now on the torso, they also have this particular figure with just lower torso articulation. There really isn't much to the you know, they don't have any kind of upper torso or mid torso articulation here. But what they do is they have this sort of softer plastic material that adds the costume element, and it puts it right there. So that's kind of what you have as a little bit of an added detail. And we get the lower torso here. And this is really interesting because I'm going to try to zoom in on this so you can see it better. They maintained that funky angular cut that they have on the legs of their figures, but what they've done, it's interesting the way they cut it. So it's kind of like, it looks very seamless, right? And what's interesting, they've got this large ball joint that attaches to the torso, and then in here you have this, you have like this like almost soft plastic pelvis type piece that fits inside the joint. And if you guys get a look at that, you can see it's got see the components in there. So if you can see that, and what happens is, look at that, it gets a full split going on practically. Now, I think that they did a really nice job designing the articulation, because if you look at that, that's really nice. And what it has here, it's got some upper thigh swivel, it's got your double jointed knees, it's got a ball joint for the ankle, and there's great ankle pivot, and it's got a hinge joint on the toe. But what I like about this is there's this very interesting butterfly type joint system. What you have here is if you pop off one of these, you can get a sense of what's going on. There's like a plug and a hinge in the leg, in the upper thigh. And there's this plug in the torso. So what's interesting is that you have this little plug here. You can kind of see because it's black, but you get this plug here that pops right into this joint that's attached to the thigh, and you have some slight upper thigh swivel, but then you get really good range of motion. I mean, look at that. That's really impressive. And then when you want to to reassemble this, now obviously you're not going to be taking it apart like that. I just wanted to show you guys what's going on here. But once you are done looking at that, you just pop him right back into place, and there you go. He pops right back into place. So it's a really interesting construction. Torso moves back about that far. Crunches, if you can work it, moves about that far down, which isn't bad. It's pretty good, but this is just the limitation of the armor, because he's got a big armor plate right on his chest. Focus. So that's pretty cool. But he's got, ta-da, he does a full split practically, which is pretty nice. So that's basically what we have here. Now, obviously, as you can probably tell, based on that, he will be able to and can do a pretty dynamic series of poses. And if you take a look at the end of the figure review, I'm going to put a bunch of the different poses that I was able to get him in. I'll put him at the end, put those photos at the end. But stay tuned also, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an in-position episode with this figure, showing you a few different poses that you can do with him and how dynamic a range of motion this figure actually has. So that's one thing I think is one of the most impressive aspects of this figure. Is it may not look like it, but the range of motion on this character, on this figure, and in this figure line is very impressive. There's a lot of different poses that you can pull off. So I think they did a really nice job with the overall design. Now, I feel like there's a couple things I might have done a little differently in terms of the aesthetics of the figure to make the design a little bit more fluid and not have like this sort of chunky, these chunky cuts in the legs and where the joints are for the upper thigh. I wish they would have rounded this off, because as you can see, it just looks very blocky and very chopped up. But I don't think it's offensive, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get that to focus because it's black. It's hard to. There we go. There we are. See that? So you see, it's kind of a little on the chunky side, and I wish that they would have rounded this off a little bit more, or kept it flat on the front, but then rounded it off where the upper thigh goes into the hip. Aside from that, this is a great figure. So bravo McFarlane Toys on the new 22 moving parts and the new articulation design. It's just very nicely done, and I give it my collector seal of approval. So it's a very versatile figure. It can do a lot for you. If you like Fortnite and you want to collect the merchandise and you want to collect the figures, it's a great addition to your collection, especially if you're starting a collection or you're starting to collect the merchandise itself. And be on the lookout. They've got 3 other figures in the set, and there's 4 other characters coming. So it's it's a win-win, right? And that's pretty much it. So I thank you guys for tuning in and watching this video. I hope that you found this informative. Thank you very much, McFarlane Toys, for giving me the opportunity to review this figure. Very much appreciated. Very grateful for you sending this to me. And please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. One thing that I will be doing is giving this figure away to one lucky subscriber. So how am I going to do that? What I need you to do is hit that subscribe button. Then you're going to follow the link. You'll see a couple of links in the description below on this video. You'll see some links to my Instagram account. You'll see some links to my Facebook page. And what I need you to do is hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Go and follow my page on Facebook. And you're going to find the link of this video posted on my Facebook page. just put a comment in there letting me know that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Or you can follow the link and subscribe to my Instagram channel. That is a little easier for me to see who's a new subscriber, and then I can message you. Otherwise, please just follow and like and subscribe to all my various pages, because the more support I have from you guys out there, the more videos I can create and the more product I can bring and be able to show off all of these awesome things. So much appreciated once again. So make sure you do that, because I will be selecting one lucky subscriber follower to send this figure to. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I much appreciate it. Keep calm, pose on. Enjoy the rest of your day. Happy collecting. Go find yourself something cool to add to your collection. And I will see you guys next time.